Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Brad Thompson coming to you for the Michigan Media Sports Network. Tonight we are talking with pretty much a Spartan expert, Michigan State alumnus from Iron Mountain, same home as Tom Izzo. Grew up a few miles down or a few houses down the street. Knows everything Izzo. Has been in many a practice and worked many a camp. So without getting to let's say basketball alumni here, I think we've got a pretty good source. So, Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to kicking this thing off officially tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, happy Brackets Eve. Or although we had the playing games, which we'll get to that right now because when I was talking to you offline, we had a little interesting discussion. So, uh, Alabama State, we've already got our first shining moment. You know,
Kind of a fun game, really.
Yeah, it really was. These playing games can be real fun. They really can because they're evenly matched, obviously. So I mean, St. Francis had the ball game. It reminded me of just one of those like Hail Marys that got in football that got tipped up and somebody comes swooping in. So it just reminds me of Chris Berman, Tom Jackson. You got to knock it down.
Yeah,
Um, but it was incredible. Um, Alabama State is just like I said, it's probably biggest win in school history. And
for sure.
you feel good. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a big win for them. Extends their season another night. And the second game wasn't as good, but I'll tell you, I predicted that. I think North Carolina is a really good team. They could make a deep run in this thing as a play-in game, and they showed it last night. They showed up.
Yeah, they surely did, and obviously they've got blue chip talent there. I mean, because they're a blue blood and they recruit, and like Herbert Hubert Davis, he the guy knows how to coach, so it's not like he forgot how to coach. Sometimes you just go through those cold streaks. The ACC, as always, is a gauntlet, and don't let them get hot.
Oh,
Don't let them get hot. Unfortunately, we saw what UCLA could done after the controversial game, in my opinion, a few years back, beating Michigan State. Uh, but those teams, hey, VCU, I don't know if you remember this one, the VCU playing game,
absolutely. Yeah.
the start of Shaka Smart's career. So, but
Yeah, that was a highlight of that tournament for sure. Yep.
uh, and these teams, that is winning a game for those teams like that. That is basically, and who's to say they can't win? Who's to say? I'm not going to say that where the things have happened, but that is something that they'll never forget. That is their shining moment, and we hope they go on. I love the early upsets, uh, but if it's not Alabama State, that team will always remember that.
It's
So
what makes March magic. The
yeah,
potential for some of those teams to do the unthinkable and make a little run.
right. No, absolutely, and obviously, speaking of March, as it goes, we've got January, February, Izzo, Izzo. So, uh, I mean, the guy's a legend. Uh, Top five coach of all time, my opinion. All right, my opinion for everybody out there. So I went to Indiana University. I worshipped at the House of Night. So I am not I've coached as a Spartan alum,
Oh yeah,
but a Tom Izzo fan. How about that? Because we did beat you guys in your crib this year. So that's the only thing we did well. It's the only thing we did well this year. So, but
it's yeah, it's a guy who's taken care of business for years and years and years, and in the coaching ranks, aside of fans, in the coaching ranks, Tom Izzo is undoubtedly well respected by every colleague.
right.
Fans don't like him because the guy beats their team half the time. But from a coaching standpoint, you will not find anyone else out there who doesn't think the highest regards of Tom Izzo.
Very true. Very true. And obviously, I mean, not obviously, but the man has come under some scrutiny. Someone talks about a couple of years ago where he got into it with a player. Jesus Christ, Bobby Knight used to do that. He used to do that 80 times a game. Okay, but I think the way that participation trophy eras have come across and everybody
Yeah,
into things, uh, Hey, he's old school. He's old school, but here's my point: he could also be new school. Uh, he said a while back, I'm 70 years old, but I'm still young. You know, so good for him for being able to make that transformation. And I was reading an article, I think I sent it to you today, from Danny Wetzel, and
Mm-hmm.
it was talking about we talk about the dying breed of the Roy Williams and the Mike Krzyzewskis, and they don't want to go through this stuff with a portal and NIL. But you've got Izzo out there, you've got Patino out there, you've got Pearl out there, you've got Calipari out there. Remind me if I'm forgetting somebody. I very well could be, but
Well, there's other guys involved that have been around too. Dana Altman from Oregon. I mean, that guy's coached as many games as any of the guys you've talked about. Barnes from Texas. He's coached as many games there and other places. I mean, you got to look at it like these guys have weathered so many changes of the game. The addition of the 3-point line, if you want to, remember back that far, uh,
right.
the shot clocks, the all the stuff that's happened to the game. These guys have had to keep up with that. Half these guys now that we're talking about are old enough to be the grandfathers of the kids that are playing for them. So it's it's impressive. It's impressive they can still relate to these kids, these college kids, and do it at the high level that they do. Their energy is still into it, and like a lot of them will say, when it's not there, they're going to leave.
Yep. No, absolutely. I think it's unbelievable. And the old saying, like I said, haters gonna hate. All right. But this man, yes, does he have how many champs does he have? Well, he's got one. But how many Final Fours does he have? He's got a shit ton.
Yeah,
Okay. And he could, and who knows this year? Okay.
this could
But
be
I love
8.
what's that?
This could be number 8.
This could be number 8. I mean, how many of those guys really have that in their portfolio? I don't think there's many. I think he's an elite company if you ask me. You
Yeah,
know, I don't think that these so-called fans or these so-called whatevers, okay, I don't think they understand how freaking hard it is to get to the Final Four, especially when you're in Michigan State, because when they see that green, that white, that Spartan, they got a bullseye on their back every goddamn game for the last 25 freaking years in the tournament. So people out there, take that in consideration for a second and think about the job the man's done.
yeah. 27 straight tournament appearances
Mm-hmm.
with some teams that were. Hey, last year we were sitting here, Brad, and we were wondering if they were going to make it.
Right.
At this point, and they did end up making it as a team that maybe wasn't as good as some years they've had in the past. But I know we're going to talk about how special this season is and how different it is than what it's been in the last handful of years. This group has embraced a lot of the old school, or what got Izzo to where he's at. A lot of those principles of defense, rebounding, playing together, making the extra pass, buying into being unselfish, all those intangible kinds of things that make teams really good. Even when you don't have elite talent, I think that's what makes this year's team really fun to watch.
This team is, it's the 25th anniversary, and we say, okay, well, we can do this. It's very similar as far as just the bonds, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. But before we move on to that, it was they asked Izzo, of course, well, what do you think? Can you get? And he's like, look, man, he's like, and he wanted to say, I don't give a shit. All right. He just says, I'm here, I'm coaching, I'm having fun, my teams do well. And he said, I don't worry about that other stuff. I just don't worry about it. I'm coaching, I'm loving the game. Kids, and it's like, yeah, you know what? It's basically what he's saying is double middle finger to everybody else and just says, you know what? You ain't me. All right. I got one of the best jobs in America. All right. Dickie V loves me. and, and I'm just out here doing my thing. Obviously he's on the back nine of his
Yeah.
career.
Well, coach, I think he took a very important piece of advice, and he's mentioned this sparingly. But the magic of Tom Izzo in the tournament is that he took a piece of advice from Coach Knight, and that was, you have to learn how to get rid of all the distractions
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many. Now, 20 years ago, there were a lot, but less than now with the social media and all the stuff and the poaching of players and all that. But Coach Knight's advice to him was you have to eliminate distractions. And I think that's been a lot of the part of the magic of Michigan State making runs and doing well after the first weekend. And even what you just said, during the season, eliminating all the other noise of what people are saying. Izzo doesn't even have a Twitter. I mean, who in this day and age doesn't have a Twitter or use social media? He doesn't. And I
Right.
think, again, that's been one of his trademarks is it doesn't matter what other people think or say or do or whatever. What matters is the people that are in this locker room and on the staff to make the magic happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, he's unique. He's not a unicorn, but he is unique. He's unique in
Mm-hmm.
his own because obviously Pearl's got his own style, Patino's got his own style. I think we all know Bobby had his own style. Uh, so, you know, but so moving on to that, and I don't even know if this is a word, but he used it a lot today. It was connectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a word. If it's a word, great. If it's not, we get the point. Okay, because he's talking about every single this entire team is pulling the rope this year in the same direction. They're sacrificing for the greater good, and maybe the sum is greater than the parts. But the key to teams like that is number one, senior leadership. Okay, senior leadership is huge, and they've been setting the tone this year. But everybody's bought in. Check the ego at the door. We're here for one thing, and that's that net up here come April 2nd. So
Yeah.
this is a special group. And everybody says, well, this really is a special group. So if
Yeah.
you could talk about that a little bit.
I think one of the reasons why that message has been relayed year after year after year, and this team has actually picked it up, is because you got a guy like Morris Peterson who helped them win a national championship, who as a junior or whatever came off the bench. Okay, he was a bench player, but could have been a starter. And when you got guys coming back and giving that message to these young kids, like, hey, I wasn't even a starter and I played 13 years successfully in the NBA. I didn't even start. I gave up that role so that I could come off the bench and help the team and accept what coach told me to do. I think a lot of these guys have taken that to heart and they listen. And of course, Jace Richardson's dad played for that team. I think they've all digested the message and put it to work. We're deep. There's many nights this season where the bench has scored 50 plus points. You don't find that.
No.
And you don't find starters who are accepting of that in this day and age where like, well, I got to get mine or I'm not going to get to the next level. These starters have accepted that they're going to get their chance. They're going to be out there. They're going to produce. They're going to go sit down for a little while. They'll get back in. Everybody's been a contributor. And I think there's just likable guys on the team. They like each other. And that's that. It made a word connectivity or whatever, but
Activeness. I
they
love it.
like each other,
Right.
you know?
And again, we all know that the goddamn transfer portal's out there,
Uh
okay?
huh.
Dudes that have transferred 3, 4 fucking times, okay? Now you speak of of a Peterson, okay? Comes off the bench. Some of these dudes out there, a lot of these dudes out there would have been like, yeah, dude, cool, all right. I won my title, all right. Senior year, boom, I'm gone. All right, I'm going out to UCLA or I'm taking that secret bag. All right, and I'm gonna get paid. He
Yeah.
didn't do that. And look at the guys here. Look at your seniors here. Look at even the other guys. You said about starters sacrificing for the greater good. These guys came back. Because nowadays, this is what I hate about the portal. This is what I freaking hate about the portal. Nobody wants to put the work in. They want to say, oh, you know what? I was a 5-star. Well, guess what? You get there and you got everybody's a dog there. Everybody's a stud, except for the
Yeah.
walk-ons. No, man. You know what? I'm not getting my clock. I don't want to work harder to earn my position. I just want to go somewhere else where I can step in and have my position. It's not about earning it anymore. It's about having it. And these dudes, they haven't done that. They haven't done that. These dudes aren't jumping to the league. These dudes aren't hopping teams. Okay? They're staying. They're staying. And I can't applaud them more because in this day, I mean, I don't really see anybody. I could be wrong. There might be teams with that, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. And so I definitely like that. I definitely like that. And I think they're going to be rewarded for it.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
so good story here, and I really like it. Speaking of the connectedness, I'm going to keep using that. I might even use it as a whatever nowadays. Jace Richardson and Colin Carr are roommates. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
get along. They get along like Forrest Gump would say, peas and carrots. Okay, now they grind out there. They grind on the court. They blood. They sweat. They cry, blood, sweat, tears, whatever. Then they come home. All right, and you know what they do? I don't know if you know what they do. You know what they do?
No.
They put together Lego sets together. Okay, I mean, it's not like Step Brothers. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's way back in the day where they're playing with their cars. Okay, but they put Lego sets together, and the reason why they say they do this is because they get away from the grind. They can decompress from the grind. They can decompress from the intensity. Okay, but they can also work together, and they can still be completely focused at their task at hand. So
Boy,
I
that's
was
awesome. Yeah.
like, damn, you know?
If you're watching this, it's because you love sports. If you love sports, why not show that love with some new gear, like the two jerseys behind me? Fanatics has a lot of stuff on sale right now, and if you go down in the description, click the link of whatever team that you want, it'll take you to the Fanatics page, buy some stuff, and we get a small portion. It'll help us out, and you'll get some discounts on some good gear.
And here's an interesting thing that Jace was talking about. And you might remember this, you might not, but in the Iowa game, those two went at each other like they wanted to fucking kill each other, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what the thing was? What did they do after that? They go on a 33-6 run. So if you're taking it, I mean, I'm an only child. So, but you get to yell at your brother. I would assume that, because again, your family. And this is what I mean. You can yell at your brother, you can argue a fight with your brother, all right? But when you got to go against something else, I got a feeling that brothers pair up and they go and they kick whoever ass is bothering them.
Yeah.
So I heard that and I was just like, man, and Jason, he knows the sense of history, probably got it from his father, obviously. But in 2000, I guess that more, Mateen Cleaves, and Peterson, they went at it hard in a game. Like they had to be separated because they were going to swing on each other. And boom, what happens? What do? Families fight. Families fight, but they don't disconnect. They're not dysfunctional. Fighting doesn't make you dysfunctional. You
Yep.
know, it was just a story that I liked, and I think it just speaks to exactly what this team can do and what this team can be. Nobody takes anything personal. They just don't. All right, this isn't a former Spartan Draymond Green doing the little gift to Kevin Durant. You
Yeah.
know, this is stuff where it's sincere and it's passion. But at the end of the day, they know that they're brothers. They
It's
really do.
Yeah, it's the culture of, and again, you say I was in a lot of practices. I was there for a lot of these things back in the day when all this was being built, and Antonio Smith and some of the guys who built that culture around that's how the practices were. Guys got after each other. Guys were holding each other accountable. And because they wanted the same thing. Okay, they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be good and they wanted to be win. They wanted to win, but it was also promoted that hey, we at the end of the day, we're here for the same thing, but we got to hold each other accountable, and that has never changed. It has never changed. When it has changed, and when guys didn't want to do it, look what happened. We weren't as good. It wasn't
No,
fun.
and the talent was there.
That's right.
And the talent was there.
Yeah.
So, before we get back to Izzo, because there's just a couple more things I want to talk about. Let's get into matchup with Bryant.
Yeah.
Bryant is they're a poor man's Michigan State. They really
I
are. They
agree.
pigs. Uh, I believe that they have a Memphis transfer, Earl Timberlake, no relation to Justin, haha. But Earl Timberlake is the American East Conference Player of the Year. All right, so he's definitely going to be a factor, and they've got Raphael Pinzan, who's their leading scorer. Now they are coached by Phil Martelli Jr., whose father is the icon Phil Martelli.
Yeah.
So the guy comes from great stock. Izzo was a big fan not only of his father but also of him. Speaks so highly of him. But Bryant's going to take it. Bryant's going to take it to state. They really are. Like I said, very similar fashion. Uh, their guard play is excellent, and that's what you need. You know, they can go on cold streaks a little bit, but we can see what happens. So talk to me a little bit about Brian here.
My impression of them and seeing that I watch a little bit more of them today. They do very similar things to Michigan State in trying to transition the ball, which is why they've averaged over 87 points a game or whatever it's been. They score a lot of points, and it's because of their transition and pace of play. We're not unfamiliar with that. That's how we do things. They shoot the ball pretty well from the 3-point line at scoring, just over 7 or 8 threes a game. So that would be, in my opinion, one of the things we're focusing on is making sure we guard the 3. They don't do a lot of penetration and driving. They try to use their bigs a little bit to get off ball screens. Timberlake is obviously the guy that stirs the soup for them. He scores all their points. He's set records in their conference for scoring points. He's the leading scorer of all time at that school. So, you got to shut that guy down, take him out of the game, and then make everybody else step up, I guess, if you're looking at it that way. But I think we overall have an advantage of depth. I guess in the matchup we have an advantage of depth. So if we're able to carve out a few points underneath, get them in foul trouble early, I think we'll cruise into having a good lead the whole game. 5 to 8 points in this game is a good lead, in my opinion. The pace of play they have, the points that they score, we have a 5 to 8 point lead. That's comfortable in this game. I don't see us blowing it out to a 10 to 15 point lead by any means, unless we're playing out of our minds. They're going to give us their best swing. I don't see Bryant coming out and doing anything crazy, like a weird zone or something off the wall that we're not ready for. They are what they are. That's how they got here. They're going to play that way. They're well coached. They're disciplined. And Brad, it should be a good matchup. It should be a good basketball game. I think we're going to try to do things really fundamentally sound and well as just a tune-up. You got to take it seriously, but you got to also come out and say, look, guys, we need to play well today. We can't come out and have an ugly win. You need to play well. So I would expect that out of the Spartans. I just think our best players are better than theirs. End of the day.
I think, we kind of talked off air about this. I think you're looking at State going in with a halftime lead of, let's say, like you said, 5 to 8 points. I might have a different view on this here, but 5 to 8 points. Just because Brian's going to, Brian's going to come out, they're going to play. They're going to put it this way, stay with me here. They're going to put a lot of energy into it, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Where they're leading in this game halfway through the first half. I really see that there could be, but I think after halftime, the game gets to the 5 to 8 a little bit. But I think what wins here is you guys play the up tempo, right? You go 10 to 11 deep, and then finally it's going to be like that energy button we have up here on our phone right now. That battery is just going to wane down, and then State's just going to be on that run. And I could see it in the last 8 minutes, maybe getting into a double-digit lead, maybe in the 12 to 13 range, 12, 15 range. But Brian, let me ask you this. Do you think there's any help here? Because we know that Phil Sr. was on Juwan's staff and actually coached for some games because Juwan was sick or he had a heart problem. I hope he's doing great now.
Yeah.
Juwan also had a penalty to get thrown out of games. So Martelli had to step up a little bit. Here's my point to get to it. Do you think he's going to have maybe some fingerprints on this game plan for his son?
I would think so. I think there's been talk there. Why not? And, I respect Phil as a great coach even before he was coaching at Michigan. I mean, I've seen him as a clinician. He is a great teacher of basketball. I mean, unbelievable encyclopedia of knowledge of what he's done in his career. Of course they probably talked, and I'm sure he's had some edges on, you've got to watch this or do that. But at the end of the day, the kids in the court have to get the message from the head coach, and and the staff on, how to execute things well and whatever. And, philosophy wise, I'm sure they're pretty aligned with some things. And, Michigan State is what they are. They're not going to do anything crazy either. So, everybody knows we're going to try to run, we're going to rebound well, and we're going to try to keep the game, in a way that, we control the big versus small matchups. We're going to try to throw the ball inside. There's no secrets.
Right, right. No, absolutely. Uh, Talk about a little bit about Jeremy Fears. I mean, we all know
Yeah,
what happened tragically being shot and things. Uh, I think he's going to be, being a senior. I think he's going to be so goddamn excited for this tournament because I think he is mature enough to know that, you know what, I don't have this opportunity if something went wayward back then. So I definitely think he's counting his blessings. And again, the senior leadership. What do you see him doing? So hopefully for the long run, what do you think the kind of impact will be from him?
well, what I hope he tries to do is not do too much, if that makes any sense. Okay, Jeremy Fears' role this season on this team has been distribute the basketball, bring it up with a tempo that makes sense, defend your butt off. And he's done these things really well. He hasn't been our leading scorer night after night. It's not his job to put in 20. It's not his job to shoot the three. His job has been to orchestrate the offense, and I would hope that's what he sticks to. He's very good at it. He's very good at finding guys open. He's very good at backing off when things aren't working out and resetting things. I hope that he maintains that role. I think it's important that he maintains that role for us to be successful and not trying to push the issue and make things happen that aren't there. He is a leader. He's a leader by action. He's also a leader by words. I think guys actually have respected his leadership. They've respected the situation he came from and through this last season to get back to where that's incredible what he's gone through physically to get back to where he's doing now. So I think there's a lot of respect there by the players and everybody on the staff. And, for us to do well, he has to play solid, but he doesn't have to do anything extravagant.
Right, right. No, I would agree with that. And like I said, I'm rooting for the guy. When you come as close to not just losing your career, but almost losing your life.
Yeah,
So I mean, I think he's the kind of guy that appreciates what he has and is going to, you put it to good use this tournament.
for
So,
sure.
moving on, and let's say that the Spartans have a little bit of run, a little bit to a long run. Okay, uh, Jace Richardson, Izzo said today, hey, he's no longer a freshman. Okay, we all know he's got a great bloodline, comes some good stock in his dad, Jason Richardson, Spartan legend, played a long time in the NBA. Uh, I think his coming out party was against Oregon. I think that's where he said, everybody said, yo, Big Ten, this is a dude right here. Yo, Nation, this is a dude right here. Um, I think he's gotten better with each game going by. Now, he's kind of a combo guard a little bit, but I'm going to throw some names out here to you because I think we all know on those long runs, it's been the guard that's been the leader. All right. And, you got your Mateen Cleaves, Cassius Winston, who had, because of COVID, a possible ring stolen off his finger, Drew Neitzel, Maurice Ager. All right. That's high company. That is high praise right there. All right.
Valentine, Denzel
Val,
Valentine, Shannon
yes.
Brown. We forget
Yeah.
somebody of these guys that were
No, you're
very
right.
good at
Right.
Michigan State and then also made this long run in the NBA. Those guys played, 8-10 years in the NBA.
Right. No, absolutely. Hey, Charlie Bell.
Charlie Bell. Well,
Charlie Bell.
for all the guys who have been honored at Michigan State, I mean, he's done so much. He did so much as a defensive player, offensive player, and maybe doesn't get on the Mount Rushmore all the time, but as good as anybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Can Jace be that guy? Can he be
I
that?
don't think he's not that guy right now. I think he's all the makings of everybody we just talked about, and to some extent better, because if you think about all those other guys, with the exception of maybe Shannon Brown, who was unbelievable right out of the gate, but Denzel Washington had to develop a little bit, and Cassius Winston wasn't incredible his freshman year. I mean, he had some time to get better, and I just think Jace Richardson has something special that a lot of these other guys don't have. He's a little different than some of them in a lot of ways, but he has been consistent. He's been good. He's gotten better. He hasn't tried, like I said about Fierce, he hasn't tried to do too much. You know, he's not out there trying to make spectacular plays. He lets the game come to him, and he sees things and he reads things, and he's not selfish. He's out there playing with his teammates. If he's not the guy that's open, somebody else is, and he'll make that play. That's why I like him. He's a Spartan. He does everything the way that Spartans would want to be done, you know?
A lot of poise, a lot of composure for
Yeah,
basically a lot of poise, a lot of composure. If you know, if I'm reading this right with those names I mentioned, those guys did a lot when they were kind of in the upperclassmen range. You know,
true.
I think now you know more than me, but I think this guy could take this team on a run. I really do. Of course, they go 10, 11 deep, but I just think he can. Now I've been wrong before. I've been wrong many times, but maybe I can say it. Believe me, you're a Spartan pragmatist. You got a lot of Izzo in you. Like I don't know, you
Well, I
know.
do think the hiccup to that, Brad, we saw the hiccup to that philosophy is that Wisconsin did a hell of a job on him on Saturday last weekend in the Big Ten tournament, and he didn't get as loose. I mean, they did a great job on him, and so he wasn't as much of a factor. Did he still have an impact? Absolutely. That's why we were in that game. But teams are going to give him their best swing on defense and say, look, we got to shut that guy down. If we shut him down, we'll kind of let maybe the chips fall wherever they may, but you got to take care of him. That's why I say, he's maybe not in that place yet where it doesn't matter who guards him. He's that good. He's still got a way to go.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Uh, where does this team, where does this team you think potentially could wind up as far as the Michigan State vintage teams?
Yeah. Fan standpoint, I think they've got they got a road. They have a real road this year. From a coaching standpoint, I feel like they've had too many spurts in the season where they get way down. I mean, they've started some games down 18, 19 points and had to climb back. You don't
Right.
do that in the tournament.
Nope.
You don't do that on the road in a neutral stadium at 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday. You don't do that. You don't get that gift in the tournament. So we can't have those slips where we get down by a lot before halftime and have to climb back. We cannot have those times where time after time you see the stat on the screen, Michigan State hasn't scored in 6.5 minutes. We can't have those. We
Nope.
have to have an answer to another team's bucket, to another team's 3-point play. Our guy gets in foul trouble. We can't go then 6 minutes without having a basket.
Right.
That will hurt us. Now, those are circumstances that could happen no matter what region or bracket you're in. I just
Right.
think, Brad, that looking at the matchups that are potential here, and I told you, I think North Carolina is better than anybody says. The record shows. I think they're good. They could go deep. I think Michigan State ends up playing North Carolina, and it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight. If Michigan State does well on night number 1 and night number 2, we're going to beat them. But I think that's going to be the matchup we'll see.
There's two blue bloods going at it right there.
Can't get better than that.
Guys have a little bit of history each.
Yeah.
So, is this best? Hey, is this Izzo's best job so far?
I think he's done an incredible job lacing this one together with the depth. I heard a lot of people chirping about how's he going to play so many guys? Why is he doing that? But then it's paid off, and I think it'll pay off in this tournament for all the reasons. I think it's been one of his better jobs in a decade at least. I really do. I think our scouting report and our job by our staff against Purdue when we played them, we dismantled them. We embarrassed Purdue this season.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I know, but and it just I think we handled going on the road for the first time in this new setup for the Big Ten out to the West Coast. We played 2 pretty good games there. They were close. We could have won either one. Didn't end up winning those games, but still, that's a character builder for our guys and coming out of that and not taking a dive for 2 weeks after, bouncing back from it. That's good. I think the attitude and the effort has been great this season. And again, we'll use that word, whatever, connectiveness. That's on Izzo. That's on leadership to be able to connect the past, the traditions, the road trip to Italy during the summer, the going to the baseball games, the bowling, going to Izzo's house in the summer on the lake to play volleyball in the water. That's the kind of stuff that makes this special.
No, indeed, not a doubt. You brought something up here, and it puts a question through my mind. And these two other teams, the past teams, they never had to do this. They didn't have any West Coast teams in the goddamn Big Ten. I don't even get me started on that. But I don't. That is that's tough. Look at what they talk about the pros. West Coast trip makes this sound a little ominous. Well, you're talking about 19 to 22-year-old kids, men. They men. They're going out to a West Coast swing. Other teams didn't have to do that. Now you could come back in a body bag for Christ's sake.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think we talked about this in the past. Where like a freshman, Jace Richardson, some of these other guys that are younger on the team, like it's tough to go through this whole thing, regardless of the season and how you're doing and all that. A freshman typically takes a dive for a week or two. They check out. It's too much. You need a break. You're not used to it. But these guys have thrived on it. And I think, again, making it through this weekend, you got to be focused. You got to get rid of distractions. You lock everybody. You hunker them down in the hotel. Nobody gets to talk to anybody except your teammates, and that's it. And then if you can do that and you can get these young guys through that, you're going to have something special.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. So, before a couple things before we wrap up here, and I think you can speak to this. I think you have more credibility than anybody, being from, having the Patsies up in the Yooper, all right, being a Yooper yourself. Everybody talks about the Izzo magic, and I don't think anybody can really tell me exactly what it is and put their thumb on it. That's what makes it great. But give me some points of why that is. What constitutes the January, February Izzo cliche?
Well, I think that came from, a consistent amount of runs into the tournament, the championship year, getting back the year after the Final Four, a couple Final Fours in a row, some of that. I think that's what that came from. But Tom Izzo's magic is started way before his coaching career. I really, growing up in the same hometown, a couple streets down from his parents. His parents were friends with my grandparents. Everybody knew everybody. His mom sang in the choir at my church. The magic for Tom Izzo is unequivocally from his parents. He was raised in a way that hard work mattered, respect mattered, relationships mattered, the community mattered over anything else. Being an outstanding human being, no matter if you're winning or losing or anything like that, all these qualities were put into him early on from his parents, and he's never ever gone away from that as a person. And I think it's bled into every single angle of the way that he handles business in that program. That's it to me. The magic is from his growing up. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's great to know. And this is my magic of Izzo. Just me from being a neutral bystander. I'm singing his praises tonight just out of respect, and I always will. But respectfully now, Michigan State's in the last decade's been through some pretty hard goddamn times. All right, we don't need to spring it up. We know what we're talking.
Right.
There's no reason of open old wounds. Izzo was the healer of those tragedies, those wounds. He really was. And he's not just basketball. He is Michigan State. And he brought that school, you said about bringing everybody together, connectiveness. Well, he takes it away from he doesn't just do it for his team. That school needed a leader. And respectfully, it wasn't going to be the goddamn president. All right? It just wasn't. It was going to be Tom Izzo, and he didn't have to do it.
Nope.
He could go out there and he could give his 5 minute, his 5 minute lip service to it, and thoughts and prayers, just like thoughts and prayers, and then we move on. We always forget about thoughts and prayers, and 10 minutes later, what's new? But to bring an entire community, to bring entire alumni, people across the country feeling it, 47,000 students feeling it, and
Yeah.
families. He did it. He did it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, a natty closes the entire chapter and is on to great things. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, it'd be fun for that. He just never forgot where he came from as a coach. I remember visiting him when I was a kid. He had an office in the Jennison Fieldhouse over there that was probably smaller than my bathroom here in my basement. And that honest to God, he's never forgot about being a high school coach, and he's never forgot about that, and he's never forgot about the million hours of film that he broke down for the staff that nobody ever saw that either. And it's the way that he treats the young staff, the managers, the cheerleaders, the secretaries, everybody. It's the way that he values the little things that have made the whole difference in the longevity and the special magic of that whole program.
Yeah, I believe he would take the ticket holders, or the people who take the tickets, or now the people who scans the tickets, with as much respect as he would respect the president of the university.
For sure.
And I think we just talked a lot about his magic right there.
Yep.
Because I know Coach Knight did it, and I know Coach Knight did it. Everybody thought Coach Knight was an ogre. The things he did for Landon Turner when he was tragically injured in a car accident, he calls up Brett Auerbach and says, "You need to take him in the 7th round." Does it? Nobody understands how many millions of dollars that Coach put
for
in.
sure.
So I don't want to go off on a tangent on that. But, I think it's Tom Izzo, and that's pretty much sums it up. So let's pivot. This is a great thing that I do like about you is we're gonna talk about University of Michigan, and like I've told you, and what I admire about you is you don't like them, all right?
Nope.
But you respect them. Well, you respect them more. Let's just say there was a period in there where it was hard to respect them, from let's say John Beeline to right now. I digress though, but you've always respected you know what I mean. You respect it. You don't like them. So
yeah.
Can you move a little bit to your right there, just a tad? There we go. We get the full GQ now. So, but
I always say I got a face for radio, not TV.
well, you know what? The two of us both do. So do I. So, but anyways, you can. The thing is you can be objective about Michigan. All right.
Yeah.
Because
of course.
there's somebody on the radio. I don't know his name, and I'm not going to. Yeah, he can't be. Okay, but he just can't.
Can't hear you.
Are you there?
Yeah, there you go.
Oop, okay. I had a guy calling. It's like whatever. So anyway, let's get back to right in the funny part. I'll say it again. Michigan didn't even get a reach around. How about that? Okay. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here, but regular season they beat Wisconsin. Regular season they beat Purdue. Tournament they beat Purdue. Tournament they beat Wisconsin. Tournament they beat Maryland. They win the tournament. And come Sunday, I'm looking at the lines here, and I see Michigan at a 5. I'm already saying, huh. Then all of a sudden, you see, Purdue at a 4, Wisconsin at a 3, and Maryland at a 4. Or Maryland was at a 3. And I'm going, they have Maryland at a 3, maybe?
Maryland's at a 4, yeah. Wisconsin's a 3.
Right, still. What the hell?
Well, I don't think the math adds up for a whole lot of people, and anybody in the country that's looking at the bracket in this tournament, Michigan fan or not, you're confused a little bit about it, and the committee unfortunately didn't kind of share with us the why or the how of that placement, but there's so much things that go into it with, travel and timing and who plays who in the next round and those kinds of things that it's hard to say if you're not in the room. All the ties and the levers that have to be pushed. It seems weird that Michigan State could meet again in the second round.
Yeah.
You don't like that. It might be unavoidable in any of the regions, but you don't like that. I feel like you're right. I think people have a good, legitimate gripe about the Big Ten tournament not mattering, because it seems like that was already placement before the end of the tournament. At the end of the day, they're gonna have to go out and dig through it anyways. But yeah, they should have been on that 3 seed line, regardless of the outcome of Sunday's game, because they were the season first place holder for the majority of the Big Ten. I mean, or a big chunk of it at least. And I think that's got to show for something in that league this year. That's gotta mean something. Yeah, they had a couple weeks of a dip, for a while there, but who didn't? And I don't know. I don't know what they were looking at with that. We didn't get any explanation.
Yeah, I mean, we talked off here. I mean, if it was last year, I think they'd be at a 3 with Ward Manuel sitting in there. And I know they got to excuse themselves, just like the North Carolina AD who was ahead of this year had to excuse himself. But I'm sorry, their presence is there anyways. I mean, they know that they're just waiting outside that door. Okay, mm-hmm. That's all they are. And, that is what it is. But I'll tell you, if I didn't know any better, and if I didn't know any better, and I don't know any better, but if I didn't know any better, I almost think that this bracket was done. All right, or the seeding was done before that game, the whistle blew. I really do. And I'm probably wrong. I'm full disclosure, probably wrong, but that's just, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I really wouldn't this day and age.
I would say there was a skeleton of it for sure, because if you look at, again, Michigan, the end of the Michigan's regular season where they got beat by Michigan State. They had a couple weeks that they did not look themselves. They looked like a skeleton of what they were doing before. I think maybe the committee went into it going, they're probably not going to do very well in the Big Ten playing how they are in the tournament. I mean, playing how they were. They expected them to possibly get out in that first matchup with Maryland. Maybe they ended up that way for a speculation instead of the reality.
Right. And they don't live by the 3, obviously, with the Twin Towers, but that's part of their game. And, and there was a lid on the rim for those games there. And then tournament, that lid came off. So, it's like Aaron Rodgers says, it's a great mystery. Okay, it's a great mystery. So, but you know what? It's like that, those info commercials. All right, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Okay. So their reward for Big Ten tournament title is University of California, San Diego. Okay, this is a team that KenPom has at 36 in the country at a 12 seed. Okay, UConn for not the same UConn team, but they got them at 30. This is a team that is 30-4 for crying out loud. Okay, I mean it's a mid-major. Doesn't matter. To me, it really doesn't matter. Their defense is giving up 61 points a game. They cause turnovers like crazy, and Michigan is prone to the turnovers. So a lot of the experts, the credible experts, some have them going one has to the grade 8. Some have them to the Sweet 16, for Christ's sake. So it wouldn't be just an upset of Michigan, 5-12, by the way. We all know there's a 5-12 every year. But they've got them moving on, so it's like, well, there you go. Here you go. Here's your trophy and whatever. Here's here's your shovel to bury yourself, Michigan. I mean, the only thing that I see about it is the tallest guy's 6'8", and we know that Michigan's got size. So I mean, talk a little bit about San Diego here for me.
Well, San Diego has one prolific scorer, Tate Jones, and he's going to put the ball in the basket. He's probably going to get his 15 to 20 point average. He's that good. I don't think Michigan's guards are outstanding on defense. I think they're okay. and they've gotten a little bit better. Maybe they come in with a chip on their shoulder because of the seed and shut him down a little bit. But I got to say that the biggest difference in this matchup is definitely going to be Golden on Michigan's team. If he can get his average points, if he can be a factor in the post, the game is Michigan's. I don't doubt that they're going to have a hard time. I don't doubt that UC San Diego is a great team, but I also doubt that they're not to the caliber of Michigan's two bigs. There are a couple of guards that are getting better. I just don't think that they're there. And even if these people who say they're going to advance, farther than the first weekend, they're not going to beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M is fast and strong, and they score and they defend. They're just as scrappy as what people are describing UC San Diego. It's not. Michigan's going to win this game. Yesterday I wasn't quite sure. I didn't have it on my bracket yet, but Michigan's going to win this game, and it's going to be because of their bigs. Wolf is great. I have liked watching him this season. I think he had a couple of games where he wasn't as good in the end of the season, but I have liked watching him. I think he's got a high potential to be a good ball player around the perimeter. He can handle it. He can handle the basketball. He plays pretty well around the basket. He doesn't get rattled about stuff. He's pretty consistent. Golden has been amazing. I just like him a lot. I'm a big fan of his. Hate to say it, but I am. Michigan's guards just have got to be better than what they showed some of the season. And if they can come out and play very good basketball, put a few threes in here and there, be aggressive on the defensive end, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I definitely agree. I'm going to go a step further than you are, though. And, Trey Donaldson, he had some great moments in that, and I think obviously that his confidence level has got to be soaring right now. Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, he's taking it up a notch now. I really do. So, I mean, if he has, that's going to be a very, very big help for Michigan. I think if he could knows that he can take it to the next level full time.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I was so interested in Michigan this year is because you get a new coach, and I saw Dusty May coach a little bit in the tournament last year. I thought he did a good job with that team, but I wanted to see what was their game plan overall. Like, what are their go-tos? What are their philosophies? Are they going to go inside? Do they want to just chuck threes? What are they going to do this year? And there was a lot of times, Brad, where I thought the team was pretty good. They had some good athletes out there. They had some talent out there. But I was waiting to see, like, how are they going to run their offense? What is their staple on defense? And I guess this season I can't put my finger on what are they hanging their hat on this season. As far as I can say, they're hanging their hat on Golden having 20 to 30 points for them to win. They're hanging on Wolf having a good game. A couple of their guards have to contribute and play tough. Otherwise, I don't know. They just don't have a thing that's hard to guard right now on offense. That like right. You got to go, man, we got to guard that situation or we're going to get our butts kicked. And then defensively, they check up. They get their man. They're not great at help. They don't give help very well. They don't help on the post very well. So if another team has a good post presence, they might get hurt a little bit. So we'll see. But I was watching this season to see if Michigan basketball was going to do something that was, outstanding. I think they did. They had a good season. They had a nice run in that tournament. They finished it off really well. But I'm still like, what is their calling card?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see what that is.
Yeah. What is their identity?
Yeah.
What is when the chips are down, what's their go-to?
Right.
What is it? But I call them the Twin Towers, and Wolf, I think, is taking his game up a notch. You got to remember, he's highly intelligent because he's got a diploma from Yale. Okay, yeah. I could barely spell Yale. All right, back in college, but I want to know how San Diego's going to stop, or how they're going to guard that pick and roll with a 6. Are they going to switch? Is a 6'8" guy? I mean, I think. See, that's where I think Michigan can really exploit San Diego.
Well, there's two problems there for UC. One problem is that Wolf can shoot it. So if it's Wolf setting the ball screens, they got to respect his popping out after setting the screen to shoot the ball because he can make it from back there. Golden doesn't shoot that. So in defending him, when he sets ball screens, you've got to respect his roll to the basket or his slip to the basket, because if he gets open from that, he is scoring and going to the free throw line. So
Right.
in guarding those two guys, it's a little different situation. You got to back off Golden from the free throw line because he's not going to shoot it. And Wolf, you have to get out there on him and crowd him there because he will. So two different situations.
Right. No, I think I think that's something that they're going to have to go to. If they don't have success, keep going to it. Just keep going to it, because 6'8", 7 foot, man, there's a discrepancy there
Yeah.
that is huge. So, so fill in the blanks for me. San Diego wins if.
San Diego wins if Michigan's guards don't play well. And what I mean by that is doing some of the things we saw in the 2 weeks at the end of the season after the Michigan State game, the first game that they played and lost at home. They just went inept. They weren't working together. There was a lot of turnovers. They seemed like really unfocused. And if Michigan gets in that situation again where the guards don't handle pressure very well, which UC is going to bring, they're going to have a problem. That's the way UC wins it, is putting a lot of pressure on the guards, and the guards don't handle it.
Okay. Michigan wins if.
Michigan wins if UC can't guard bigs. They don't do what I just said. They don't take away slips and rolls from Golden, and they don't take away the 3-point line from Wolf, because he'll kill you there a couple of times enough to keep a lead. So if you don't guard those two guys very well and you can't manage those two situations, they won't win.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think I'm with you with Michigan, but boy, I wouldn't bet the house on it. I've got some concerns, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. So hey, let's go into a national scene here. Okay, let's figure out this entire tournament. You know, I'll start with the upsets. I don't know what you have, but I'm going to throw some out there. Potential upsets. I may have one that I guarantee here. I don't know. Drake. All right, Drake, who has a new coach this year because the other coach from last year went to West Virginia. West Virginia got screwed, but I'm good because that coach now is with IU. I digress. Okay.
Yeah.
30 wins. They rebuilt it with some absolute freaking studs from D2. Okay, and D2 basketball is really no joke. All right, I mean, is it D1? No, it's not D1, but hello, and these were the cream of the crop. Okay, won the last 18 out of 19. All right, their defense now, please, their defense is 58 points a game. And I know that Missouri's a track team. I know they're highly athletic. I don't know. I am so tempted to want to take this. And, I have not feel, I didn't, but I'm so tempted to. I think this one's the one where I'm going to go, God damn it, I knew it. What I also have is BYU. Kind of really loving this one too. This team beat Iowa State, who's a 3, I believe, twice. They go into Kansas. All right, house of horrors for teams, and they beat them by 34, and that's what started Kansas's swoon, absolute swoon. So, I mean, you got Richie Saunders he's the guy that could be a name in this tournament. He's the name out of nowhere that people will know. Okay, I mean, he's shooting 51% field goal. All right, I mean, wow, and quite frankly, the new coach Wise has done he's done a great job, great job in. I think it's almost a winnable region for him. I do. Just me.
I don't doubt that one, but I got to give it. Listen, if there's one other team in this whole entire tournament besides Michigan State that I am a big fan of, and I would watch every weekend from now to the rest of my life, it's Wisconsin. And I know you don't want to hear it, but I love the way they play together, the intensity they play with on both ends. I think they're pretty deep at the guard positions. Their bigs are effective enough to do some damage. I really like that team for whatever reason this season. I just think they're too good. And that matchup potentially with BYU and Wisconsin, look out, because I think it could go either way. BYU, yes, they're playing very well, but Wisconsin is just good. And I like watching them play. They do things
Hey,
really well.
yeah, no argument here. Uh, I took this one. I'm not going to lie to you. I picked this one. And that's McNeese State. I'm McNeese now. It used to be McNeese State. McNeese over Clemson. I
Okay.
took. You got it. Hey, you got to put your. Hey, scared money don't make money. All right. For those of you out there who don't know, that's where Joe Dumars went. Okay, he is from McNeese State, and when the Pistons drafted him, everybody's like, "Who the fuck is that?" And I think the rest of the story takes care of itself. But Will Wade, he's come in there and he's got them playing the right way. He's got them back to back now. With conference championships. Defense again. You're going to hear me go to defense here. 64 points a game. And this team can score from anywhere on the floor. Okay, they'll jack it up. They can defend. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen that. I think it was Seth Davis that had Clemson in their Final Four. But this is a 5-12. Hello. We all know that 5-12 is going to happen somewhere because it always does.
Yep.
But like I said, I could end up tarred and feathered and have my ass kicked on Twitter. It wouldn't be the first time. But that's my one. That's the one I've got. That's the one I'm going with. So what do you got? What do you have here?
I think of the 5-12s. You're probably right. That would be the most realistic, upset game that maybe wouldn't be so far of a reach of an upset. McNeese, yeah, you're right. They could go on a big run of threes. They should shoot it from everywhere, and that's what it takes in the tournament sometimes to bury a team, and then they can't get back from it. I think up in the South, the 5-10, the 5-12 matchup with Michigan and UC San Diego, I that's the closest game that you couldn't call that an upset either way. So that to me, that one's off the table for as far as upsets go. I know the Michigan fans would be upset if they lost, but still. The other one, the other 5-12, Memphis and Colorado State, I don't even think that's on that can't happen. Memphis is good. And matter of fact, I picked Memphis out to the end of the first weekend and the game in the second weekend. And if anybody's going to beat Florida in this tournament, it will be them. Mark my words.
Oh wow. Hey, putting it out there. I like it.
Yeah.
We can talk with the Matt, but I'm looking at the brackets overall. We'll get back to specific teams and things. I personally think the toughest bracket is the Midwest. You've got some blue bloods in there now, right? Clemson's out there. You know how I feel, but Clemson's still there. You got Tennessee. You got Purdue. Okay, now Purdue can get knocked out in the first round. They can get to the Sweet 16. Hey,
Sure.
They got where they got last year. Okay, I wasn't very thrilled with it, but they finally broke through. Gonzaga, hello. Kentucky, hello. Houston, hello. Pretty damn
Now wait,
tough.
back up. But I got to give Georgia some credit because I think they're a very good basketball team, and I saw them play Auburn this season, who they should have won that game. They had the game one. It was at the end, a 1-point game. Georgia is a great basketball team. They're gritty. They're strong. They play well. They shoot the ball well. They got the inside-outside mechanism to do. I think they beat Gonzaga and they move out there. Houston, I'm not convinced, Brad. You're right. This region is the toughest one to pick. You could flip a quarter and it could be a different outcome every time on all these matchups. But I really think Georgia is a good team, and I think they could make a run out of this thing and surprise people.
I think I see where you're going with that. No, yeah. You know what? So it makes it even tougher, doesn't it? It really does.
Real tough.
I think the easiest that we've got out here, I think we're looking at the East. I mean, I think Duke, just my opinion, is far and away. I mean, I think obviously they'd be a heavy favorite in every game in this bracket. What I like here is I think I got Bama beating Robert Morris. I think you do as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Vanderbilt, and then all of a sudden you got another SEC matchup. Your team, Wisconsin, they're going to handle Montana. They're going to handle Montana no problem. Arizona can score in the hundreds, I believe. I believe we talked about that off air. You're saying Arizona can put points up at Akron. Don't sleep on Akron.
Oh man, they're good. They're
They are
good.
good. They are
Yeah.
good. Look at this 5-12 though. Here we go. All right, Oregon, Liberty.
You know, Oregon's a good team. Oregon's a good team. I don't see them getting beat by Liberty. I really, Oregon is
Oh,
as
that's
good
good.
at any of the teams that played in the Big Ten. Michigan State had their greatest night against them in the Big Ten tournament. But I'll tell you what, like they're good. I wouldn't want to play them again.
Well, every 5 seed's good, I think. But Liberty, I mean, another mid major that that's almost a lockdown team that could put points up. I mean, I'm with you. I think I had Oregon winning this game, but I think
Yeah,
that's going to be a matchup. I think that's within a 10 point. Hell, that's even within a 7 point range. I'm not sure it even gets out of that. But yeah, that's what I got. And then you can talk about the other two regions. Flip a coin: is second toughest, third toughest. I mean, I don't think we need to get into that. But I'm looking down here. I mean, North Carolina. You like North Carolina beating Iowa State, huh?
yeah, I do. Brad, I think I think they're good. I really think that they've had a season that maybe doesn't indicate how good they are. Uh, Last night they dominated and wasn't even close. Did they play a team that wasn't good? No, they made it to the tournament for a reason. And North Carolina dominated them. They come out, they win that game. They're gonna. I think they beat Ole Miss. I really do. I don't think Ole Miss is anything special right now. They just do what they do. I don't think they've seen a confident North Carolina caliber team. So
Mm-hmm.
I like North Carolina MSU matchup.
Makes sense. I mean, I see where you're going with that. Uh, one up here, and I think it's an 8-9. So again, it's the coin flip. It's the coin flip game. But boy, I'm telling you, man, Louisville's playing pretty goddamn well. Um,
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to beat Auburn, but I think it's going to be a hell of a lot closer than people think. In fact, I'm going to say it could go in overtime.
that could be true. That could be true. That'll be a good game that everybody's eyes are going to be on. Auburn's going to win their game. Louisville should beat Creighton. It will be a high watched game just because of the fact that it'll be a good matchup. It'll be a good matchup, good basketball, high scoring, a lot of action. It's going to be heated. Both teams think they can make it out of there, and good for Louisville if they do, because if a hot Louisville team could do some damage.
Yeah, I think they're playing good basketball at the right time. Something I see here, want to get your thoughts on it. Another coin toss on an 8-9. Could the most hated coach in America and Danny Hurley? Okay, and I think that's a runaway. All right, just a big. Oh, his brother was a dick on the court. He wasn't a dick. He was just a pain in my ass.
Right.
Uh, but can he show that he's like he said he's the best coach in the nation? And can he get his Husky Dogs? Can he get them back to where the level where they've been playing at the last 2 years? Because, like I said, he said he's the best coach in the nation.
I got a hard take on that just because I mean it seems like a circus this year.
Oh,
They've been good. You don't need to tell everybody you've been good. We all know it. You got stuff to prove it. You don't need to tell everybody that. Keep things in house. When your team stinks, fix stuff. But I think there's just been too much drama, and it's going to reflect in the players' focus this tournament. It's hard to reel guys in after stuff's happened. I don't feel like they go very far. I really don't.
no, I tend to agree. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. It's
Nah.
just I think you see what I'm doing here. I just
Yeah.
want to see coach, if his best coach.
Oklahoma wins that game, Brad. That wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me if UConn wins it. But either one of those teams is going to get their butts kicked by Florida. I think. I think Florida is above those two teams
Oh,
by a lot.
right, exactly. Because I got news for you. He's not the best coach in the country. But now this is something where I say get the spaghetti and meatballs out. Okay, get the baked clams out. All right, make the gravy, as the paisans like to say. They don't call it sauce, they call it the gravy. All right, and we could be looking at a matchup here. This, I mean, you're talking Kansas, Arkansas. this is Calipari against Bill Self. This isn't Kansas against Arkansas. This is Self versus Calipari. God damn it, you know. And just for shits and giggles. And by the way, Arkansas's best player, I don't, he's been out. Doesn't look like he's coming back. So that is definitely going to play a factor.
Yeah.
But let's just for fun, Arkansas wins and St. John's wins. I mean, I know Calipari hasn't been wearing the suits. I know Calipari's going to be wearing the pocket square and the suit and the power tie because he's going against his boy Rick Pitino. God damn, that's just get you popcorn ready kind of shit right there.
Yeah, there's 3 games right there where if Don King didn't come out and announce the starting lineups, I'd be shocked. It's just good TV. There's some drama and some history there, and some really good coaches that have done some things. And yeah, that's a hell of a TV section of bracket right down there.
Yeah. How do you think Rick he's come under a hell of a lot of scrutiny. If we had NIL back in the day, we wouldn't even be talking about this. All right? We just wouldn't. And some other things, but I digress. We're not gonna it's not a PG program anymore after my mouth. But he took Ionia. Look what he did with them. St. John's was buried underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay. There was 300 pounds of raw sewage in that river. That's St. John's basketball. Okay. Just speak to a little bit about Rick Pitino overall as a coach since he started and took, Providence with Billy Donovan to the Final Four.
Yeah, it's incredible because the reason why he's done this is, somebody may argue that it's because of how he brought players on board at some times. But listen, all that aside, he is a great teacher of the game. I mean, in my back room over here, I got stacks of coaching videos of his because he's so good at teaching parts of the game, how to defend situations, how to teach guys to get to the basket off the dribble, off the catch, playing the post, guarding the post. And he's brought that stuff everywhere he's gone and helped guys do the things that he teaches really well. He's just a great communicator at telling guys exactly how to do the stuff. And they've done it everywhere. They've done it everywhere, Brad. And I just, from a coaching standpoint, he's a really good coach.
Yeah, I mean, you can put him up there with the best of them, and nobody would give you that sideways look.
Yeah.
I mean, if Rick Pitino's a top 5 coach in the country, you ain't going to hear an argument. I'm sorry, top 5 ever. You ain't going to hear an argument from anybody. You're just not. And do you think he's acting a bit different? I mean, it just,
Yes.
I love the interview. He says, I'm going to go home and drink a bottle of Jameson.
He's acting the way different because he knows his days are numbered and it doesn't matter anymore. He's what I say this all the time about things like he's doing the LeBron James. Like if he had to quit tomorrow and it was over, he's done what he needs to do. Like he has put into the game what he needed to put into the game to get back from the game, and he's given away more than he ever took. So I just think right now he's having fun with it. It wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in another team and tried it again. Like that's fun for him. That's the juice for him. It may be, like winning and all that and maybe paying in another banner somewhere, fine. But the juice for him is reigniting a program and saying, look what I just did with this thing that was a dumpster fire. That's fun for him. Another guy might not enjoy that. Another guy might want to walk into a good situation that's already kind of established. But his juice now is like, I'll take a bunch of kids who don't even have shoes and we'll make something out of it. I mean, and that's why he's laughing, because he's done it.
I mean, he could. I don't think he's going to leave, Madison Square Garden. I don't think he's going to want to leave his New York City. But let's just say for shits and giggles, let's say that Iowa comes calling, right? And he says, okay, well, here's a nation project. He's going to be out there in the middle of the sticks. I could see him out there in the middle of the sticks saying, where the fuck this isn't spaghetti and meatballs. This is
Yeah,
egg.
no, there's not enough nightclubs out there in Iowa and TV time. So no, that's not his niche either. He's got to be able to go out at
Yeah,
night.
egg noodles and ketchup for so for his spaghetti. But yeah, I'm not sure there's any open tables after night either, if you know what I mean.
No.
So not there. It's a God fearing kind of state. Uh, so hey, let's get to it. Uh, I'm gonna go first because
Okay.
more than me, and I'm serious when I say it. Obviously, no, I am. Let's do this in the East. I know there's some questions about Cooper Flag, but Cooper Flag's by far the best pick, best player in the country. He's going to be a unanimous first round pick. There will be a conspiracy theory, and he will be going to Chicago, but that's just me. Anyways, I got Duke coming out of the East. Midwest, I know there's the gauntlet. There's the gauntlet. Anything can happen. I'm gonna go with Kelvin Sampson. Thank you for wrecking my fucking program. But I'm gonna go with Sampson in Houston. In the West, I just think that Florida's a buzzsaw right now. I personally think they're the best team in the country playing like it right now. And in the South, I'm not being a Spartan slap because I ain't no fucking Spartan. All right. I'll say it again. We beat you in your own barn this year. Anyways, uh, I don't have much to hang on to anymore. God damn it. I just don't. Okay. I mean, hey, we're a football school. God damn it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Indiana University is a goddamn football school. Okay. We just play basketball just for the hell of it and see what can happen. God damn, I never thought I'd fucking say that in my lifetime. Jesus Christ. Where's the fence? Okay. Oh, but I got Sparty. I got Sparty coming out of there. I know Auburn has consistently been in the top five, and they're the number one seed and they're the number one team in the country. I just do. Like I said, we don't need to have rehash it, but they're deep. They're a tight group, and the best coach in the country right now is coaching them. So, floor is yours.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. Let me have 1 second here. 1 second. I apologize. Yep. I got Duke over Houston. I got Florida over Michigan State. I got Florida winning it all.
Yeah. My depth here is I agree with you on Duke, with the caveat that if Flag doesn't make it through this thing, they don't make it that far. They'll make it through a couple weekends without him. After that, we'll see. But I got them out there winning their region. Tennessee has been very consistent all year long. They're good. They're deep. They're strong. They got high-powered guards. I'm going with them to win the Midwest over Houston. I got Florida, of course, winning the West without any problems. I just think they're just so good. And the only team that I think that could give them a game early is Memphis. And I hate to say it, but I got Auburn winning that region up there against Michigan State. Michigan State has a deficiency from the 3-point line, Brad. They've had it all year long. They got a little bit hotter at it right now, but that hurts you in the tournament, especially if you get down a little bit. Auburn is going to put you down. At some point in the game, Auburn would lead that game enough to where Michigan State's going to have to drain a couple threes, and I'm not sure they're capable in that kind of environment. I got Auburn. I got Florida beating Auburn, and I got Duke beating Tennessee. Florida winning it all.
Well, great minds think alike. What can I tell you? Yeah, Auburn. Yeah, I mean, but let's break it down to the coaches. That's, again, I guess we have a Izzo jerk-off fest tonight, but I we're entitled to. I really do. So, but yeah, I think we kind of see eye to eye on most stuff. On some things we don't. But as we always say, it's the tournament, and anything can fucking happen. So, yeah. I mean, you can see some 12 seeds again. You could see some 5s coming through. Georgia could come through. Like we were saying, I know you like them. Texas Tech, we haven't talked, but no, we don't want to go back to that. But this is going to be a fun one because I don't think there's any clear-cut favorite this year. I mean, this is I just don't. I know we kind of went chalk here. I know, a lot of chalk here, but this is going to be fun. So, hey,
yeah,
Appreciate it. If I can get you back on, let's say tomorrow night, maybe. Well, no, you know what? Let me see if I can get you back on Friday night. Talk about Michigan, and then maybe get it about. Well, let's just say I'll have you back on. How about that? How about I
Yeah.
have you on? During this tournament at some point, we can break down some games and we can preview some other ones. But hey, this is good stuff, man. Always good time spending.
Yeah.
Always spending time with you, Coach. Always good.
Always good time spending time with you. I appreciate you having me on. It's been great to be able to coach with you and then talk hoops and football and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Coach, until next time, thanks a lot. Go green, go white. I'm going to lose
Go
a
White.
lot of on Twitter. All right, and I'm going to be called biased. I am an Indiana University alum. We'll see what this new guy can do. Who
We'll see.
fucking. All right, so I'll catch you next time, Coach. Thanks a lot, man.
Have a good night. Bye bye.
All right.